Okay, so you have your environment set up and you're ready to get going with USACO. You might look over here at the right side of the usaco.org page and be like, this is where I need to register. But that's actually not where you need to register. We are going to start over on the training page. And then we'll go into online training pages. And this is where you're going to register. So you can register for your username and password here. And then type in all the stuff. And then once you finish registration, we'll pick it up on the other side. So after you finish the registration page, USACO will email you a username and password combination. Note that mine went into my spam folder, so you might need to look there for the email. Enter your USACO username and password and go ahead and enter. And they want my country, so United States. There we go. So when we first come in, basically they will only show you problems in stages. As you finish levels, you'll open up next levels. So the first thing that you need to do is open up the introduction. And the idea is you can read through this, so please read it. Please read all this stuff. Understand how this works and everything. So once you've read this and you go back, pieces will be unlocked. So now when you go back, you've finished section 1.1. So now we can go over to section 1.2. And this is where we're going to begin with learning how to submit our problems. So the first problem now is this where we'll learn how to submit problems. So let's open that up. And this explains how the grading system works. So again, they accept C, C++, Pascal, Python, and Java. We're working in Java. Once you become familiar with USACO, many USACO people enjoy working in C++. It's not at all required, but you know that's a common language. But we'll work in Java because that's many of our favorite language. So you can scroll down and you'll see a sample Java program down here. So here's our sample Java program, and this is already copied for you. If you got a copy of the repo. So this is going to be called test.java in the section 1_2 folder. And all this does is opens a test input, reads two numbers from it, adds them together, and then writes it to the output file. So let's go further down. Please read all this. And the way you submit things, once you've coded your program, let's go back over to our coding environment to see how to set it up to submit. So I'm in Visual Studio now, and so in the section 1 folder, section 1.2, I will open up the java.txt, and this is the same thing that we just saw from that page. At the top, it says your name here, and so this is where you're going to put your USACO username, and mine was brespass1. So whatever yours is, put it there, hit save, and then go back to the web page and hit browse. So this is where we're going to submit it. And then go to that directory. So I'm in the demo directory. And then just walk up the folder structure to 1.2 and select the test. Hit send it in. And it will verify that it works correctly, and happily it'll say that it worked. Good luck if that happens all the time in your programs. It's difficult to get to work the first time. Once you're done and you have it working, you can go ahead and do USACO Gateway, and that'll bring you back. And this is now where your first problem is going to begin. So let's take a look at the problem. Go ahead and read through this, and then we'll talk about what sample code we provided to you. So take a moment to read this, so pause the video, read through this, and then we'll go over to the starter code and talk through what you can do. So let's look at the sample code that we set up for you. We don't have the whole solution. You need to do a bit of work this time. So again, back in section 1.2, you'll find ride.java, and that has some starter code for you. And then you'll also see ride.in over on the left side. So let's take a peek at that first. So ride.in has this sample input. And if we go over and look at their page again, it will say, okay, if the input are these two things, it should say go. If the input are these two things, it should say stay. So I will test my program 2 different ways on my machine. And so far, I use the first 2 sets of inputs. You can edit this later to change it to the other sets of inputs to test the other values. If we go back over to ride, we'll notice that we're opening ride.in. And that file name is specified in this description here. I can't tell you exactly where. So sample input file, it shows you ride.in, and that's where it gives you the values. And it'll be writing to ride.out. So it specifies in every problem what the name of the input file is and what the name of the output file is. You don't have any discretion on that. So the sample starter code opens the input file and opens the output file. And then we read the 2 lines from the input file, and we put them into line 1 and line 2. And we've created out for you. So you can do out.println to write to the out writer. So your code, your logic needs to go here, where you're going to decide whether you're going to print go or stay based upon the contents of line 1 and line 2. Again, don't forget to update your name up here prior to submitting. When you run it, so let's go ahead and run it right now. So to run it, I navigate it down to section 1.1.2. I'll do javac start.java. And I'll do Java ride. I will not see any output here, but to see what the output was, I can go over to ride.out, and since I didn't actually put any code in, it didn't print anything out. But if you did any prints, you'd see the output here, either stay or go. So that's where you'll check the output of your program. You can put in some debug print lines into your program to watch what's happening. I would comment those out prior to submitting. So good luck with ride, and we'll see you at the next step.